So Vanna White, we broke what I think is a big story on the website. She has drawn a line in the sand, and she is telling Wheel of Fortune producers, I want at least half of what Pat Sajak makes, or else I may walk.
I love this.
Here's what we know, and it really is kind of shocking, that Vanna White makes $3 million a year. She has not gotten a raise in 18 years. She has been flat at $3 million. We have sources with direct knowledge on this. Pat Sajak makes around $15 million a year, and Vanna now says, with her contract negotiation, which is really important now that Pat's leaving, she wants half of what Pat makes.
I think that this is a smart idea of Vanna. Vanna is needed on the show, especially when you have a new host coming in. You want the people to feel that comfortability, like watching it again. To have the both of them just like leave a season after a season, it's not going to feel like the same Wheel of Fortune.
Well, here's why that I think Sony, which is negotiating with her, has a little bit of a problem. And the problem is actually right on the air. This is the way the show begins.
Ladies and gentlemen, here are the stars of our show, Pat Sajak and Vanna White.
Let's hurry, we got a show to do. Okay.
They do not say, here is the host, Pat Sajak, and his sidekick, Vanna White. They say the stars of our show. So Sony is presenting them as equals.
I know. I would walk into the office and I would just have that song playing as I'm going for negotiations.
And you guys, it's very, very clear. They walk out arm in arm. The symbol to the audience is that these are two co-equals coming out to guide you through this television program that you've enjoyed for 40 years, and Vanna is on the same plane as him. So she's positioning herself as a co-host to say, look, if you want this to have continuity with Ryan Seacrest, I'll walk out arm in arm with him, but you're going to have to double my salary.
Well, and they also do the sign-off together. She comes back out for the sign-off after it's all done. She's a part of it.
I mean, there are lots of people who do kind of what Vanna does on game shows. Vanna is different. She is an icon. I mean, she is in rap songs. She was in Playboy. She is known by everybody.
Honestly, in all of the game show world, she is the only female that pops out of my head. All the other guys are men. So, like, she's the only female out there. She holds a lot of power.
She holds a lot of power, but we are told the negotiations that her lawyer, Brian Friedman, that he is having with Sony are very difficult. I mean, those words were used to us by other sources, very difficult, meaning Sony is not on board to pay her the $7.5 million, which apparently, you know, what we're told is asking at least, when you say that, you're going to settle for that amount. So she says, look, I'll take half of what Pat's making. She wants to do the show. Here's what people connected to Vanna are telling us. They're saying, after 41 years as a model employee and more the face of that show than him, which I find really interesting, and I'm not sure that's not true. Asking for 50% of what he makes seems like a no-brainer. I think it's hard for Sony to argue that. In many ways, if you say, who's on Wheel of Fortune?
It's Vanna White and Pat, I always say.
She's also made a statement that I think is quite powerful. She says she feels like it's a statement for all women. So Vanna is taking up the mantle of saying, I not only am Vanna White asking for more money, this is going to help all womankind and people in my position. I think it's a very powerful thing to say.
And now, Derek, as a lawyer, you know that when you negotiate, to do it effectively, you have to be prepared to walk. If you're not, you can't negotiate well. And for her, you know, look, she's drawing this line in the sand. She's made it clear, we're told, she really, really, really wants to stay.
Well, and I think that's why she hasn't got a raise in 18 years. She, like, loves her job. She really, truly loves her job, and she doesn't want to leave it. But she's also like, I need to be respected by the EPs.
Now the question, look, she's made enough money over 41 years that she could probably afford to retire. It doesn't sound like she wants to. And the open question, what if Sony comes up with more than she's making, but less than half? By the way, we put a poll up on the website, asked people, Vanna should make 100% of Pat's salary, 50 or 20. Here are the results. With more than 40,000 people, 42% say 100, 46% say 50, only 20. So the public clearly on Vanna White's side.
The public loves Vanna White.
The public loves Vanna White, and the public also loves voting on spending other people's money. So it's very easy to click a button that says, hey, give her a 100% raise.
Dirk Johnson from Nebraska. I support her and her her fight for the increase because she's been there for 41 years. And she's part of the show, like you said, but she's also showing loyalty to the company. And that's not something to turn your nose up at.
I just can't get over it's been 41 seasons.
It's amazing.
It's so successful.
It's amazing.